winning 90% of your new business because you have some sort of incredible value.
I'm going to take a bit of a different angle.
I've got a budget this big. I'm going to give it to you because you have a really killer plan.
You give a Red Bull to a turtle, what do you expect?
I think that's a dead turtle. So let's move on to...
E-break.
Cheers.
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 Does your current premium finance company lock you into long-term agreements? That's because they don't want you talking to us. At IFS, we win your business the good old-fashioned way, with customer service. I know you don't always have to use a premium finance company, but when you do, you should use IFS. Cheers.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Insurance Pint podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tom Reed, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Steve Earle, CEO of Bald Insurance.
Hello.
Jeff Roy, CEO of Excalibur Insurance.
Welcome, Pinters.
And Adam Mitchell, CEO of Mitch Insurance.
Hello.
And today we're pleased to be joined by Samuel Bélanger-Lamoureux, who is the co-president, and hopefully I didn't butcher his name too much, but Samuel is the co-president of Cemiar. Welcome, Samuel.
Thank you, Tom. That was actually pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that. So, Samuel, how did you wind up as co-president Cemiar?
I think it's going to sound a bit cliche, but I kind of always knew I'd own my business one day. That was never up for debate in my mind. I'm 6'5" now, but since I was about 4 feet tall, I had a very strong entrepreneurial spirit. When came time for university, I was pretty good in French and math, and so I considered going to do a law degree or engineering degree. And at the end, I kind of asked myself, how do I fast track owning my business? And that led me to HEC Montreal, which is high commercial studies. It's Quebec top business schools. I started to realize while studying that most students in the universities in Quebec were studying through Facebook groups, and there were like hundreds of different Facebook groups. It was very active but chaotic. And the students would pose question and others would answer. And so I saw this as a first opportunity to launch a business. At that time, it was called Elpo. One of the reasons I'm telling that story is because, of course, just like at Cemiar, I had no tech background, so I had to surround myself with people who knew what they were doing. And so I went to Polytechnic, which is Montreal Engineering University. Put up some flyers, and I met Ayub, who's an insanely talented engineer. We teamed up 50-50, worked on it for, I think, 2.5 years. And the problem was he was so skilled, Ayub, that after his degree, he was recruited by Microsoft HQ in Seattle. And so, funny enough, after years of advancement in AI and in advanced engineering at Microsoft, he recently left Microsoft to join Cemiar as a lead engineer, which it was a huge win for us. Once I was done with that, I'd say my first real job was as a BA, a business architect at NBC, National Bank of Canada. It was an IT role, and I had zero IT background. I was in the cybersecurity team, and one day, I remember being in the office. I think we were about 80 people on the floor, and a consultant came in to kind of assess the team and ask us about ourselves and our role. And as this often go, out of 80 people, at the end there were only 5 that were kept. And for some reason, I was one of them. And I remember thinking that was kind of a wake up call for me. I realized I could sell and communicate maybe my value better than most. Because in all honesty, guys, I should have been the first to be let go. I had a very junior role at the time. I quit for a sales job at Yellow Pages, and I did well. So in the first year, I made it to the top as one of the top 3 rep in Canada at YP, which was quite the competitive sales environment. And then I quit after a year to start a marketing company for real estate brokers called Allo Imo. And it did really well. I was just not fully aligned with my business partner, and I kind of felt the model wasn't scalable as much as I would like to. So I shut it down after 2 years, and with a mix of luck and timing, I connected with my two associates at Cemiar, which is Kevin, who I met initially at YP, who was staying late after work to work on a project called Cemiar, which wasn't the same Cemiar as today, but we did keep the name. And I remember I respected his dedication and vision, and so he was doing this project with GS, who's now our associate and lead engineer. And yeah, those two guys, we built a team. And I remember thinking it's good to have GS because I tend to sell the dream. Now I can sell the dream, and I have someone who can actually make it happen. So I thought that was a good fit, and as the rest would follow, JS had a very good expertise in data integration. He's very humble, but I think he's one of the best minds in the country for system and data integration. And we did a lot of projects. He started to work on a technology called Cemiar Link, and that would be the main innovation that made us popular in the insurance industry initially. So that's a bit how I started, and now we were 3 partners, and I became the co-president. As you can imagine, I'm not managing the engineering side at all. I have people for that, but I manage more the strategy and growth and business development. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely have the DNA of an entrepreneur. But let's see what your real DNA is with our rapid fire. So who is your favorite band or artist?
If it's outside Quebec, I would go Tragically Hip. In Quebec, I would have to go Daniel Bélanger. I'm not sure if you guys know him, but
heard of him, but don't know his music very well. But that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Next question: iPhone or Android user?
I always been team Android, but last time I was at IBAO, I had a problem with my phone. Kevin, who's my associate, told me enough with the Android, so we went to the Apple store, and now I'm team iPhone. So
excellent. And what's your newest AI app you're playing around with, or the latest app you've loaded on your phone in the last couple months? Anything cool that the listeners would love to hear about?
Honestly, that sounds terrible as an answer, but I'm surrounded by tech guys. I have a minimum amount of apps on my phone. I'm mostly working with the apps for works, which is my emails, my FaceTime, and yeah, pretty much that. So I don't have many apps on my phone, to be honest, Jeff.
Okay, no, that's good. And what's your favorite podcast or book you're reading right now? Anything that inspires you right now that the listeners or the other brokers or people in the industry could maybe learn about?
The most recent, I think it was 0 to 1 from Peter Thiel that I read, which was a good podcast.
What do you do in your free time when you're not working? Well,
I do in my free time. First of all, we do have a ping pong table at the office, and I'm the champion at Cemiar, so a bit of ping pong. But I say I do play hockey once a week. I play deck hockey. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I got a elbow to the head yesterday here. So
nice one.
And last question: if you could take a trip anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I guess I have to say I started to plan a trip this week with my wife. We're going to the south of France in June, so I guess I'll have to go with this answer for the moment. Other than that, I would love to see the pyramids in Egypt. That's for sure.
Okay, awesome. That's it. That's my rapid fire. Back to you, Tom.
Over to you, Steve.
So, Samuel, give us an overview of really what Cemiar does, and from the perspective of a broker, manager, principal here listening. What is it what it really does and how it helps?
So Cemiar, it is a software engineering company. Now we call ourselves an insurtech firm because we only do insurance. But again, our mission is that we are fully dedicated to making insurance brokerages in Canada more efficient in their operation, mainly through three types of technologies, which is integration, automation, and artificial intelligence. And we might get back to it, but I'll say this up front. What we build is not RPA. Often I do conferences and presentation or panels, and I get presented as a RPA company. We are not doing RPA. I think we have an approach that is more powerful, that offers more possibilities. So what we do is really API-based automation using artificial intelligence. And basically the core of what we do is Cemiar Link. It's our API hub. It's kind of the central brain that connects seamlessly to BMSs like Applied Epic and other key systems that you guys use. And the beauty of this is that once Cemiar Link is in place and integrated, we have all the routes, all the connection towards your field's value and function, and then we can build innovation just around that hub. And so there's no need to constantly build new innovation across different systems. It's just one route towards Cemiar Link, and that hub has all the access to the data. And really, we've spent, I think, even before going in the insurance industry, we've spent years refining this. So our data access integration capabilities I think they're pretty unmatched right now. And really around that foundation, what we've done, and that's kind of our product, but we've built a suite. I think that's how we see it in English, but a suite of automation module. We have 10 so far. So each module is designed to fully automate a different brokerage workflow in a customizable way. So every module is fully customizable. If you do the workflow, let's say for commercial invoicing, differently than your competitor, but well, we just insert your requirement, insert your steps in the script, so you don't have to change your way of doing that workflow. You can just automate it fully. And I don't have time to go over every module, but real quick, we have like the invoicing module in commercial line, which is our bestseller, renewals in CL, coverage validation, carrier reconciliation, client reassignment, and a few others. So all these modules have been tested, proven, with very high return on investment so far.
Awesome. So, Samuel, I think I met you a year and change ago. So I had the honor of going out to the first RCCAQ Tech Summit and giving a speech there. And I mean, I grew up in Quebec, but I haven't worked in Quebec, and so I don't really have too much of a understanding of what's going on there. But when I was there a year ago at this tech summit, I got the opportunity to meet with yourself and Koyos and Jazz Communications and a few others. And I will say I walked away from that meeting absolutely blown away and impressed at this insurtech community that exists in Montreal. In fact, we actually had our IBAC Tech Committee meeting in Montreal specifically because of what the RCCAQ is doing and what companies like yourselves are doing. And I walked away thinking that there was this amazing group of companies going on there. Why do you think that is? Like, what is it about Montreal or Quebec in general that is creating or giving the conditions that create all these amazing companies that I almost said startups, because you're not a startup anymore, but it's not that old. But what is it about the Quebec environment that's launching all these amazing insurtechs?
So I think Quebec, especially Montreal, like you said, has definitely become a major hub for insurtech. There's a few reasons for that. On the top of my head, I would say, first of all, there's a strong financial service sector here. So whether that's insurance or others. So big carriers, broker networks in Canada have a presence in Quebec and Montreal, which naturally I'd say create opportunities for innovation in that space. And Quebec, tell me guys if I'm wrong, I think it's if I'm not mistaken, is the second largest insurance market in Canada after Ontario, I would imagine. And because of the language barrier, a lot of companies from outside the province don't seem to prioritize Quebec. And that does make sense. You start with your main product and then you translate it, but that does leave a gap for local tech players to step up and fill. And when we bring strong victories there, it definitely creates echoes in all of Quebec, but other provinces as well. And I'm trying to think, but also I think it's factual to say that Montreal has one of the best AI and tech ecosystems in the world. We do have top universities like McGill and Polytechnic, major AI research centers, lots of investment in that field. So we do have access to a deep, talented pool of engineers and data scientists. And that means for insurtech startups like Cemiar, we do have access to cutting edge AI expertise from these people. And sometimes having the good talent is the great foundation. Looking at companies, of course, like you mentioned, Tom, Koyos, Jazz, who we've actually helped build the integration with Applied Epic, are a great example of that ecosystem in action. And you mentioned the RCCQ that you met, I think, I think that was in the fall. So the RCCQ Innovation, I do have to highlight their role and give them a shout out. I think that they've really stepped up as a provincial association too. As you guys know, they did secure some funding to help modernize brokerages, because let's be honest, the industry was kind of falling behind in terms of tech adoption, and that's actually how we got in the market. We met with a large brokerage, and we realized all they were doing in their BMS was done manually, and so we thought that that's one hell of an opportunity. And yeah, the RCCQ takes notice of the work we do. They document it, and once it's good, they spread the word. And I think it might be sometime a double-edged sword, because Quebec brokerages industry is so tight-knit that everyone knows each other. So if you fail, if you deliver a project that fails in a way, everybody's gonna know about it. If you deliver a strong victory, everybody's gonna know about it as well. So I'm not gonna lie, at Cemiar we had this vision of saying, let's deliver only victories, and even if we have to lose some money around across all these projects, it's okay. We have to build a reputation of being able to deliver victories, and the RCCQ definitely helped us spread the word across the province. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that you have two large pillars in your organization? That one, you've I guess it might have started with being a reliable dev shop to help people solve some of these tech problems they wanted to tackle, and then from that you ended up having products that you can also resell and redeploy into other organizations.
So we definitely, and even today, I don't think the venture capitalists like that, but our model is remain a hybrid model in a way that, as you said, Adam, we work with the brokerage, and we make sure to do everything for them that will help them enhance operational efficiency. Even if they need a unique automation, they need a quote engine, AI product for their BMS. And the other side of that is, we said, if we are to become a big company with a strong valuation, a strong foundation, I think why not make it as a SaaS model? And most of the issues that we find, the processes, the workflows that are inefficient, the first thing we do is validate: is that a single case in the brokerage, or is that an industry-wide issue? And every time it's an industry-wide issue, just like commercial invoicing, we invest a lot of time, money, and resources to make it and turn it into a product. I don't mean a product that has no flexibility, but a product that we can use and kind of adapt to each brokerage and to each brokerage's needs. So yeah, we definitely have those two fields in the company. Over time, I'm not sure if it's always going to remain like this. As of now, we have about 10 modules, so that's already a lot, I think. Because we do have to have teams that are specialized in those workflows and those products to be able to implement, to maintain the solution. But as of now, it's been a very strong victory. Yeah.
So, Sam, the brokers have been struggling with connectivity and isolated data and multiple systems for a really long time. In the spirit of what you've seen work and, in your discovery of building this company and products and pieces, what are you seeing as the potential and the horizon, and where you think Cemiar could step in and solution some of these?
Where I think we can make a difference with Cemiar Link is that we don't need the entire industry to align on one standard before making connectivity happen. Instead, we could act as a neutral middle layer that kind of normalizes communication between systems. So if a carrier provides data in one format, and a BMS or a brokerage needs it in another, Cemiar Link could bridge that gap and link the mapping, the translation, the normalization, so brokerage can just access the data they need without waiting, years for industry-wide adoption. And I don't think this is just a theory, but we've already proven that we can do a bit of that through the commercial invoicing automation that we've built. So, for example, carriers they send PDF policies in completely different formats. Trying to think like if we compare like Intact to, let's say, Northbridge or whatever, and yet we've managed to extract the right data and automate the entire process. And the same principle applies to connectivity. Cemiar Link really is built to integrate with both modern and legacy system, whether it's REST, SOAP, older infrastructure. And once that connection is in place, we can take it further. And so hopefully in the next couple of years we can see every piece of the puzzle, because we haven't yet. That I know we don't have all the information, or know all the issues, but if we can maybe get up to date with the CSIO's progress, obstacles, that I think along the way, maybe not tomorrow, but hopefully Cemiar Link could become like kind of a Interact. You know how Interact kind of become the neutral middleman in the financial transaction, but I think we could play a similar role in insurance. It's just about first understanding the issues and just being part of the conversation. That would be the start. Yeah.
Samuel, you're going to launch a new innovative product in sometime in June. I believe it's an AI-powered assistant. I think you're calling it Cassie. I'm not sure if it's short for Cassie, meaning an AI-powered CSS-style guide generator, where you got the name from, but explain to our listeners where the name came from, and then tell us what's Cassie going to do for a brokerage.
So Cassie, the C is for Cemiar, AC for assistant, Cemiar assistant. We do joke internally that it might become our Siri or our Alexa for Cemiar, but how it started is that over the years, as I just said, we've developed about 10 automation modules that leverage integration in AI to automate tasks. And if you ask your clients, this innovation has really boosted their efficiency. But one of the main issue that we've identified, and we've actually identified the issue in the first meeting we've done with a brokerage almost 3 years ago, was this access to information, this access to the data that is scattered everywhere, whether it's in your BMS, in shared drives, in emails, and in insurer portals. And so just retrieving and interpreting this information takes a huge amount of time. And so we identified this issue initially. I think that was 2 years ago. And we started to work on an architecture. We put our best two engineers, JS and Ayub, on the project to fix the need. And funny thing is, about 6 months ago, the RCCAQ approached us and they told us that many brokerages were struggling with this quick access to critical information. And I'm skipping a step in the survey, but they kind of asked us to build something to fix that and to solve the issue. And so I do want to mention that they did provide about 60,000 in funding for us to accelerate this project. And also what they've done is that they surrounded us with a group of 5 forward-thinking brokerages to guide the development and to plan on. We spend 2 years building hundreds, if not thousands of robust routes and connection. So we have access to almost all the fields, value, and data that you have in the systems. And once we have that, why not connect this technology, which is an integration technology, Cemiar Link, and connect it to another technology, which is LLMs, large language models, like we often hear in the news about OpenAIs. Everyone will have their own DB. And so Cemiar, really what it is, it's again, like we said, it's an assistant, Cemiar assistant. It's an intelligent assistant, a system that would understand queries in natural language, a bit like ChatGPT. And then what it does is that it will coordinate specialized agents. These agents are experts in doing specific tasks. They interact with your tools, whether that's a BMS like Applied Epic, a SharePoint, or other systems, maybe your VoIP solution. And once they do that, they provide a fast, accurate, and relevant answer. And so when we decided to build Cassie, it's a very large project, so we can't do it all in one day. But with the working group, we've managed to kind of run it down to 5 main steps, five main key actions that would bring a lot of value. These 5 actions are being able to retrieve internal procedures documents, search carrier documents, compare carrier documents and policies, so coverages, wording, standards, present it in a side-by-side comparison table, draft emails to communicate these proposals to clients, and find a way to access a client file. So every information you have, whether it's attachment, nodes, activities, policies, coverage, and we've managed to rework the architecture. And now instead of $350 per user per month, we think we can bring it to the market in June for maybe $10 to $25 per user, which is a huge step for us.
You're kind of jumping into multiple verticals with this product. Am I hearing that correct? That your software could potentially do that with all your deep links?
Yeah, definitely. So of course, I think if we look at our main core of business, which is our automation modules with our integration hub, I think that's something quite unique because most again of the companies are either doing RPAs, and most of them are working on the PL side of the business. And now I think we found a way to make commercial operations better as well. So this was a vertical, and yeah, for sure, Cassie. I think Cassie does impact a few of those startups. I mean, I think it does. I'm looking for the English version of the word, but I think it kind of do a bit of what other startups are doing. But at the end, you said it, Jeff. It's about maybe reuniting all those possibilities in one tool, whether that's connection with MGs, whether that's policies comparison, or access to the carrier documents. I think there's many systems, and some solutions are focused on a specific systems, like a SharePoint environment with the carrier documents and so on. But our tool really the advantage, even if we compare it to, let's say, Copilot, because that's one of the questions we get asked a lot. Isn't this the same as Copilot? Copilot is not trained or integrated with a BMS, let's say like Applied Epic, right? So it's only for the Microsoft environment. So we try to bring all of these possibilities in one tools and make sure that our systems our Cassie system can access information from different sources and not only the documents.
I got two quick follow-up questions on that. First of all, large language model. Is there an ability for a broker to speak to your language if you put speech to it, or is it all typing and text right now?
Yeah. So right now, it's what we try to bring to the market is a MVP with a lot of added value for you guys. So something that will bring value to the brokerage. So the first version, actually, I'm looking at it at the moment, but there I do see the voice button. So what is certain is that voice queries are, I think it's a minimum to be able to do that. So absolutely, we'll be able to process these voice queries as well. Yeah.
And then will there be like tokens where you're limited by how many tokens of use you get? And then if somebody uses it more or less, or will be a flat fee between the 10 to 25 per user? You got that deep into it?
So yeah, we did get that deep. We went and did a lot of maths and calculation, but really what we're trying to do is have a price that is a fixed price, whether that's $10 per user or $20 per user, and that to make sure that price can allow the user to do almost infinite amount of queries. So I think we had a model where we did some hypothesis where we say if can one user would do, let's say, 100 queries per day. I think that's a lot of queries. I don't think users are necessarily going to do that much queries, but we did consider it, and even at that amount of queries, which is extremely high, we could afford a certain profitability at $10 or $20 a month. So yeah, it's going to be a flat fee, that's for sure.
Good. The last part of my question was the large language model. Like you said, you can pull in, keys and fields. So I'm thinking you can pull in all the reporting stuff that we've got. So all the reporting, there's a number of BMSs that struggle with analytics dashboards and serving up information. And then there's people that have multiple BMSs, CRMs, and stuff like that. Is your system able to pull that data and create dashboarding? Is that something you offer right now, or is this something that Cass is going to offer?
It's not something that we do right now. I know building dashboards with brokerages data is something that many agencies are looking at. It's something that we can do on a specific project, but I think for Cassie, it's not necessarily where we're going to generate a dashboard, because at least not in phase one. I will say it this way, not in phase one, because now we're looking at really 5 user cases. Eventually, it could be a possibility. The thing is, like all those softwares that you mentioned, it always depends about their data accessibility. Once we integrate, even with Cemiar Link, we kind of attach Cemiar Link to let's say an API, SDK, a data lake, or something to access data. And we did realize that in the industry, there's still a lot of BMSs where there's little accessibility to the data. So I think at the end of the day, there will have to be, from our side or from the client side, a way to sit down with all those brokerages who are using different tools and make sure that we can adapt a tool like Cassie for them. Because right now, Cassie, I just want to be fully transparent. For the first version, it will work with two main system, which is Applied Epic as the BMS and the SharePoint environment, which is kind of divided in two sections between the carrier documents and the internal procedures. So this is the first MVP, but again, our goal is really to make it available for other BMSs as well. And it's a conversation we'll have to have.
All our listeners and viewers are excited to see a demo. For those people listening on our podcast on Apple or Spotify, you're going to have to pull up a YouTube channel. But Samuel, take it over. Let's demo this little bit of Cassie.
So the only thing is, as I said, we did present it at the Tech Summit in Montreal. This is a first version, so it's in French, but I'll translate it as we go. It's just to understand the principle. Cassie, can you give me information about the client XYZ? And Cassie will go, in this case, in Applied Epic, find the client, give the basic information. Is there any policies for renewal? It will find the policy. Again, give the most important information about that policy. Is there any attachment to that policy? If yes, don't give it to me. Give me a summary of the guarantees that are inside the client copy. So it will find the attachment, find the information. Again, in just a matter of seconds, find a way to show it to the user. But I want to push it to the next step. And can you give me a comparative table between those guarantees, which is let's say Aviva policy, and those offered by Intact? So now Cassie will look at the SharePoint, find the carrier document for, let's say, Intact, and automatically build that highlighting table, that comparative table between the two in just a second. So that could take 30 minutes usual. And one of the last example is, can you write the email? Don't write it. I want to be able to download it so I can send it to the customer. And you click on the button, it will open your Outlook. The comparative table is there. There's a good intro phrases and so on. And it's ready to be sent to the client with his address attached to it. And the last step we're showing is, I'm a new broker. What's the policy for transfer? Because the client wants to move to Intact. And it will go again in the SharePoint, find the internal procedures and really go step by step with a detailed explanation of the step to follow to do a transfer to a new carrier. So again, this is just a first example. We were asked to show a video demo almost 5 months before bringing the product to market. So that's like showing a bridge before it's done. I wouldn't drive a car over it, but it still shows the principle and the possibilities that come with it. And these examples were basically the five actions I mentioned earlier: accessing data in client account, accessing internal procedure, comparative table, different carriers, and so on. So it's a first example that kind of showed those different possibilities.
So Samuel, that's future state stuff. Really cool. Tell us about what you have in production right now. Specifically, I know you have a bunch of different modules. What is the one that your customers are seeing the most ROI on, or impressed, or are giving you, what's winner chicken dinner out of the, I think you said you had 10 different options. Yeah. What's number one?
So I want to be clear, but they all have evident ROI. The one that is the most popular and I think shows the biggest ROI is the automation of the invoicing process in commercial lines. Real quick, just to explain what it does, is that every day we can automatically retrieve all the e-docs with the Epic reports with algorithm and activities. We can retrieve the e-docs to assess each PDF policies from those different carriers by our Cemiar's AI engine. And then it will do a few things. It will determine, is it direct, is it agency, what type of policy, new business, amendment, renewal, etc. Then it will extract from those PDFs all the necessary data needed to invoice the client. So insurer, co-insurer, premiums, taxes. And then it will do every action that you're normally doing manually. So we'll automatically create a transaction, the attachment, the activity, the letter. When I see the letter, it's basically a link that you click on it. It will open the email. It's ready to be sent to the client with all the right attachment to it, We even create the invoice with your template. So every step of the way is done, and we push it even further when it's a renewal. We automatically build a comparative table between the old policy and the new one to show the variation in prices, what's been added, what's been removed. So for that one, I think almost 100% of our clients are benefiting from the commercial invoicing automation. To give you an idea, I remember, Tom, you asked me for some before the tech summit. You asked me for some numbers of what does it represent as a brokerage in terms of saving. And I think that's a good question because there's many benefits, as you guys know, to automating tasks. But at the end of the day, we make sure that every automation we do has a clear financial ROI, because finances are most of the time the first key point that brokerages are looking at. And in terms of speed, commercial invoicing does these tasks in about 1% of the time as a human would. So it's almost instant, and that's a bit of the difference with RPA. Recently, we've replaced the RPA in the brokerage, and they went from 4 hours doing that automation with the RPA to less than 4 minutes with our approach. So I would say that in average, it's about 30% of the billing team that can be reoriented in new tasks. So if 6 people are working on billing, now there's at least 2 people full-time that can do other tasks because we just saved about 80 hours. That number will just go up as we go, because now we're looking at other ways to process not only the eDoc policies, but even those MGA policies that are coming from often from the emails. And so again, we're making sure there's an evolution in the solution to process the most amount of carriers and type of policies. So I'd say the minimum is about 30% of that billing department that is saved. Yeah.
How about a personal lines example, just very quickly?
One of the modules that is popular in personal line would be coverage validation. So basically, we often do that at the renewal stage, but we can scan or process those policies with our AI engine and analyze and validate what your brokers are currently validating themselves. So we can validate if there's been any increases in prices in the rate. We can alert your broker, send them a notice through an activity if specific coverage are missing for a specific sector. So it's an home insurance policy. Sewer protection is needed. If it's not, the broker will receive a notice. And if the amount is not enough, they will also be notified. And we can give additional explanation as to why there's increases. We can validate claims, changes in previous year, criterias in the guarantees. And so it's not only about just showing an increase, it's explaining how, why, and making sure that all the right coverages are there. And so in personal line, I think that's one of our most popular modules as of now.
Sam, we've gone all over the place, but what do you think is next in line for Cemiar?
That's a good question. I'd say if we look at our roadmap or at our plan, there's 2 main keywords, which is commercialization and innovation. And so I think a lot of new tech coming to the market, new possibilities. And so it's easy to get recognition from the market, but things are moving so fast that now we can create something amazing, and in 6 months there's something better. And so when we invest in getting guys like Ayub to join Cemiar from Microsoft, we do that to make sure that we can innovate at a fast pace and making sure we don't get behind any competition. So innovation is definitely one key point. I don't think we'll have 30 modules. I think we'll have maybe a few more, but really it's about pushing these modules to their maximum capacity, and also bringing a new technology to the market, of course, like Cassie. I don't want to get too much in the details, but I also think Cemiar could play a role in being kind of the middleman between the brokerages and the MGA and the MGAs. That's something we're having discussion with different players in the industry right now. But yeah, like if you ask me, as a passionate founder and entrepreneur, I won't lie that our goal is to kind of become the most renowned, or at least one of the most renowned insurtech company in North America. That's our goal. I'll be honest, that's definitely our goal. We want to we want our results to speak for themselves. We want to build a reputation of innovation and success. And so Canada was definitely the perfect place for us. I think there are so many people in the Canadian insurance industry looking to innovate with a very open mind about new possibilities. Even looking at how we got into the market, I mean, I called the brokerage with no solution to offer, and they just trusted our vision. So that says something. I think that they are looking for tomorrow's technology. And so, of course, I think in the next couple months or years, we'll address new market as well, possibly like the US market and possibly more.
Awesome. Okay, so I know Jeff wants to. Jeff's been looking forward to this conversation for quite some time, and I know he wants to get a few more words in here. But before I let him take us to the close of the podcast, I do have to give a shout out to our sponsor, IFS Premium Finance. So thanks to the team there for the support. All right, Jeff, I know you're itching to give your 2 cents here to summarize the whole thing here. So over to you, bud.
I just thought I'd have to wrap this up. Samuel, as we wrap up today's episode, it's clear Cemiar's new assistant, Cassie, is set to shake up the insurance world faster than you can say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Much like Cassius Clay's legendary knockout punches, Cassie's here to deliver a powerful blow to inefficiency, making tedious tasks go down for the count. With Cemiar's innovative approach focusing on API automation rather than traditional RPA, you're not just playing the game, you're trying to rewrite the rules to the game. Samuel and Cemiar's team, you're stepping into the ring with heavyweight contenders. Best of luck as you punch above your weight and deliver a championship performance moving forward. Thank you for being on the show, Samuel. And thanks for everybody else for watching.
Jeff GPT.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate that.
Is retention important to your brokerage? Of course it is. That's why at IFS, we have a cancellation prevention process. Want more details? Give us a call. I know you don't always use a premium finance company, but when you do, you should use IFS. Cheers.